Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mindful Metal Jacket. It's Joe List. Welcome to the episode that almost didn't happen. That's right, folks. This child was almost aborted. Too far? Too weird? Whatever. Thanks for listening, everybody. Yes, welcome. Happy election week. I am recording this on Tuesday evening, so don't know what's happening with the country by the time you listen to this on Thursday or whenever you listen to it. Perhaps you'll listen on Friday or Saturday or 2025 or 2040. Hopefully we're still here. Then perhaps that depends on what happened the night I'm recording this. Who knows, right? We'll see, said the Zen master. You know what I mean? We'll see. The old adage, how do you make God laugh? Tell him your plans for the future. It's unwritten. Important to remember that. Anyways, this is a weird intro, isn't it? Well, I can hear my beeper going off. My lovely wife is baking some chicken or frying some, I don't know what you call it. She put it in the oven. I don't know. But I wanted to record this intro. I did a last-minute podcast with Steve Rogers. I wasn't going to do an episode this week. I'll explain this in the regular body of the podcast, but was going to skip this week, and then I felt immoral skipping election week since it's such a stressful week for so many people for one reason or another. So here we are. I called up Steve Rogers last minute and said, hey, you want to do a podcast in like 15 minutes? He was game, and what a pleasure it was. Steve Rogers, if you don't know him, please go know him. I think his social media is I am Steve Rogers, I believe. He's working on an album. He has a late night. He's performing all over the city. The guy's a hustler and just a great guy to be around. It's the first repeat guest on the podcast. He was one of the early episodes. We recorded in person pre-COVID, so a lot's changed. We talk about that. And he's a great laugher and a funny guy. So it's a funny episode. It's one of my favorite episodes. I am proud of it. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get a lot out of it. I want to, I'm not getting paid to promote it, but I really am loving this book by a woman named Catherine Price called How to Break Up With Your Phone. And we're trying to get her on the podcast. I'm hoping she'll be a future guest because this book is fantastic. I heard her on a podcast, and I'll bring it up because it's just next to me. And so I'm really working on my phone and trying to be part of society's solution of avoiding so much social media time on the phone. And we talk about this book a little bit as well. Anyways, I'm really proud of this episode is what I was going to say. I think it was a really good one. I enjoyed the hell out of it, and I think you will too. And I highly recommend this book, How to Break Up With Your Phone by Catherine Price. And Sam Harris makes a surprise impromptu appearance on this podcast. Please, nobody tell him. We don't want to get sued, but I highly recommend his app, Waking Up. It's my favorite thing. Of all the books and apps and things, I recommend that one the most. And so I hope you enjoy this episode. I want to do a couple of plugs. First of all, please subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts. Mindful Metal Jacket, go subscribe. Leave a nice review. So many of the reviews are touching. 5-star review. And yeah, the reviews are so kind, and I appreciate all the messages and all the emails. It's hard to really know how many people are listening or if it's having a meaningful impact, but a lot of people have reached out and said it is, so I thank you. It means a lot to me, and I just really appreciate it. So if you want to contribute to the show, you're welcome to. My Venmo is at Joe List Comedy. It looks like a lot of shows are going to start getting canceled and head back. We have to head back indoors, and a lot of places aren't allowing the indoor shows, or a lot are just having 25%. So if you wanted to do that, that would be great. But certainly I need subscriptions, reviews, and kind words more than I need your money. But I thought I'd throw it out there because some people have extra that they like to contribute. So please forgive me for even mentioning it. And I do hate myself. And Royersford, Pennsylvania. If you're in that area, I'll be there Wednesday, November 11th, Veterans Day, and Friday, November 13th, Millersville, Pennsylvania. And as of now, I will be in Foxborough, Massachusetts, November 28th, day after Thanksgiving. We're going to do an early show because I think there's like a curfew or something. Because COVID, you get COVID at night, but not during the day. But I digress. And of course, you can follow me at Joe List Comedy on Instagram. But I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to break up with my phone. And here's a hot quote that's taken from Pema Chodron, who I've quoted a lot here. And this one is used as an example in Chapter 10 of How to Break Up with Your Phone, titled How to Take Back Your Life. And Steve and I touch on the contents of this quote. We learn to stay with the uneasiness, the tightening, the itch of our cravings. We train in sitting still with our desire to scratch. This is how we learn to stop the chain reaction of habitual patterns that otherwise will rule our lives. You heard it here, folks. Put the phone away. Listen to this podcast on your phone, but don't look at your phone while listening. Put it away. Reach out to some friends, parentheses with your phone. Be with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Thank you for listening. Enjoy this conversation with Steve Rogers. I love you. I'm recording. We're here. This is something. This is historic. Historic.
That's right.
Steve Rogers never looked more Asian ever. You look insultingly Asian. Like if I drew you, Asian people would be upset with me.
I would get canceled for having my own face.
Can you see through that?
Yeah. This is I don't know if you. This is a compliment. It gets squintier the more happy I am. Like this more I'm smiling, the more squinty I get.
I don't think you could say squinty after we say now we're really going to get canceled. Open your eyes as round as they can go, as big. Oh, there you go. Wow. You can do a cartoon because I can't do that. I can't get where like the whites of my eyes are.
I see a lot of white.
But I can't get it where like the white is over the pupil.
Oh, I think decent enough. Maybe it's the angle that we're looking into our cameras.
It's all about the angle. That's what I heard sexually. It's all angle. But who am I talking to? I'm talking to Big Dick Rogers here.
Yeah, I don't need angle.
You don't need anything. You're just girth. Well, so people, I encourage people to go to YouTube so you can see what Steve's eyes look like. The podcast is available on YouTube. This is historic in that it's very last minute. This is basically a phone call where we're just getting together to catch up. But I wasn't going to do an episode this week because I've been out in Seattle with my best pal, Derek, and his family, and was just on vacation. And I was off the grid, basically. I was just hanging out with off the grid. I was checking my Instagram 25 times a day, instead of 70. But I wasn't going to record, and I emailed the producer and said, hey, can I skip a week because I'm out in Seattle. I'm trying to spend time with family here and be present. I'm reading this book, How to Break Up with Your Phone, which I recommend, by Catherine Price, who I think I'm going to have on the podcast. By the way, I have a winning Connecticut scratch ticket as my bookmark.
That's from when we were together.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I still haven't cashed it. I'm going to hold on to it until it expires and then be upset. But anyways, I want to get to you. I want to let you speak here. But so I wasn't going to do an episode. Then I came home and I'm sitting here. It's election. And all I could see is everyone's like, I'm freaking out. They're boarding up houses and buildings. And I said, what am I? Well, I can't skip the week of election fatigue, all that bullshit.
Right.
So I said, let me call someone who is definitely available and will be willing. So I texted you, and lo and behold, I don't know what that means. Here you are.
You were like, hey, what's next to no episode?
If I could just get one little bump up from nothing, get Steve Rogers.
Well, I'm honored. I'm excited to talk to you. You, in all honesty, I needed this phone call or whatever you want to call it. I needed this so badly. I'm so glad that you asked me.
So how are you doing? Like, so this is going to come out Thursday, and many people will hear it maybe years later, months later. But we're recording it at 4:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on election night 2020, which we've been thinking about. People have been thinking about this, talking about this, obsessing about it since election night 2016.
Yeah.
So it's a big buildup. And I feel, like I said, a little weird because, I watched no news for 7 days. I looked at no feed other than, my likes or emails and stuff. So I felt removed, and then I landed here, and I'm like, let me see what's going on. And it's fucking, oh my God, my mother just is in the basement. My dad's tied up. My father's gay, the whole thing.
Well, it's like I've been avoiding the news as well, but it still gets you because everyone else is watching it, and then you get it word of mouth from them. So there's no escaping it, and it's just been this huge dark cloud above everybody. It's terrifying. Yeah,
and it's weird because, again, not only was I not looking at news and stuff, I was hanging with children who don't even know what the fuck's going on. Like, they're not. And this is the thing that I never realized with kids. Are you thinking about having kids, or what's going on over there?
I'm not. I see it happening, but I'm not in the planning stages or anything like that.
Yeah, you would like to have a kid.
Yeah.
People will say to guys like us, like, you'd be a good dad. And I always find it a little insulting because I think they think our jokes are stupid.
I have a problem with that. I think that's the only problem I have with someone saying I'm a good dad is they mean my sense of humor. And it makes me feel like I do dumb things. Like my jokes are basically what you just said. It feels so insulting.
Yeah, I do. I do a bit about it. But yeah, I do it all the time because I'm always pulling my thumbs off and fake falling and bumping my head. People are like, it'd be a good dad. And I'm like, I think I'm just hilarious, but sure.
Yeah, maybe they're saying they love us and they didn't know us to say it.
Yeah, we might actually be taking probably the nicest compliment ever and just taking it to heart. That's something we do.
Yeah, they're telling us we protect them from the cruel world, but we take it as horrible humor.
Well, so here's what I was going to say about it. And I've always been, against kids for a variety of reasons, whatever. But what I never realized is I was spending time with my niece and nephew, and I'm always like, in my mind, I'm like, kids, what are you, crazy? I'm so anxious. I'm losing my mind all the time. I'm worried about climate change and the election, and my father hates me and whatever, and money and show business. And am I gay? Am I not gay? Does my wife hate me? Am I fat? All these things. And I'm like, if you threw kids on that, my God. And I didn't realize till this week, because I was spending so much time with these kids, is that turns the volume down on all the other things. Instead of being like, how am I going to worry about, having a panic attack on the train or a mean comment on Instagram while also with a kid? And the answer I realize is you're not thinking about those things because you're with the kid. You're listening to the kid. Like, someone writes like, you suck and you're ugly. And I'm like, oh my God. And then as I'm looking at it, literally, I hear like, hey, Uncle Joe, can you tell me? And so you're like, oh, yeah, let me put that away. What is it?
Right.
And instead I'm listening to a 4-year-old. And so I might have a kid just to deal with fucking social media trolls. You know what I mean? I'm like, and then I leave them and I'm back here, and right away I'm worried about how many likes my dumb video got again.
It's funny. You saying that makes me wonder if that's where, empty nesters, that's why they're so worried about an empty nest. Like when parents are like, oh, the last kid left, now we have just life to worry about. It's just a theory. I don't know, but because it's easy to be like you're saying, like if I have a kid and then I lost a gig or whatever, I can be like, well, at least my kid's okay. So they're the most important thing now. So everything is dialed down. So maybe I agree 100%. But
yeah, I think so. And I think that's part of the issue too here is that you're like, by the way, I'm not going to run out and have a kid or whatever. I don't even want to have sex with my wife, but I'm saying that's a joke. But I'm not saying like, oh, I got to have kids or whatever. But it was a thing of like, oh, I see more clearly now. And I understand too, I'm also there for 7 days and they're not my kids. So I can also be like, let's fucking stay up all night. I mean, eat as much chocolate as you want, which was fun by the way, because I was there for Halloween. And I was like, tonight, no rules. No one asked permission about any food. If you want candy, you eat it. And what's fun is you say it because what are the parents going to do? I got authority too. I'm uncle.
Yeah.
I'm in town. So they're just like, oh, Jesus. And you're like, that's right. And then I started challenging them. I'm like, stay up till 11. I want everyone to eat candy after 11. And they're 7 and 4. So, or 8 and 4. So it was fun to be like, it's 10:58. Get your candy ready. Fucking eat it. And like, I mean, they had the time of their lives. But I've never been less stressed in my life until today. Right. Now I'm back and now I'm stressed out.
Of course. It's always waiting for you when you get back.
Yeah, I guess wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
But how are you doing? I mean, is your stress directly related to election? I mean, by the time the people hear this, it'll be the election. Well, election night will be over. I don't think the thing is going to be over, but
yeah, I don't either. I think it's, I mean, I don't know if it's directly that, but certainly the weight of this election is obvious. Like it's more so than anyone in my life. So, and probably a lot of people's lives that are even older than me, but it's like, this one's clear, like super important. And it's just that scares the hell out of me. And then not knowing, cause like usually you would know, like, you know, when you're going to know, and this one, we don't know. There's still a pandemic. There's still up in the air about comedy. And I found that like, I'm trying to write new jokes and like get new material together. And it's like, I can't even get myself to write. And I'm like, I'm trying to realize what I'm trying to control after something you and I've talked about is I think I'm desperate for control because this election is anything but something that we can.
Well, so many of these things. Yeah. So that was a hot piece of advice I dropped on you.
Yes. I loved it so much.
That I think I've said before on the podcast, but it bears saying again. I think I said it maybe in the Anya Marina episode, but I can't really remember. But yeah, anytime you're angry, stressed, upset, depressed, whatever it is, anxious, basically anxious or angry, those two main ones, that you have to ask yourself, what am I trying to control right now?
Right.
And it's usually something, how somebody feels about you, how somebody is perceiving your whatever, the election, the climate change, disease, your penis size, which is not an issue for you, but many of us, or whatever it is, you're trying to undo something that is.
Yeah.
And it really is helpful because that it's almost always that it's just, you're trying to make someone, you know, again, like see your genius or your brilliance or somebody to, you know, stop fucking tweeting at you or somebody to stop whatever it is, somebody that you want someone to have sex with you that doesn't want to have sex with you, whatever it is.
Yeah. I never have that problem, but I think I want security and new material or something. I'm still trying to figure it out where I'm just like I have nothing. And it's like, why am I even worried about this? Like it's interesting. And I notice I'm more negative lately and trying to work on filtering negative thoughts out. I'm working on a whole lot.
Yeah. It's a constant struggle, but that's where mindfulness comes in and is so helpful to be like, okay, that's just a thought. Don't attach to those thoughts. Don't connect with those thoughts. Fear is just fear. My thoughts are not reality. That whole thing.
Yeah.
But it is difficult. And I have it, even like I said, I was out in Seattle hanging out with my niece and nephew, trying to be present, trying to be of service and try to get out of my own head and what's good for me and trying to go, what's good for them? How can I be of service to them? How can I create good memories for them? How can I, make it fun for them and then give a break to my friend and his wife? But then, even then, I would like go upstairs. I'm like, I gotta pee. I remove from the situation. I go up to piss, and I'm literally, there's like a mirror in front of their thing, and I'm like, look at your teeth. Look at you. Look at you, you fucking piece of shit. You're ignoring emails. You're not writing. You're not even recording your podcast. And it's amazing. And I come back to, I go, okay, that's just my anxiety. It's my thing. And I go back downstairs. I'm present again with them. But you're like, just a moment by ourselves. You have that.
Yeah. We were just, Caitlin and I, we were just in Utah when hiking, like the whole time we were there during the day, and it was the most beautiful thing ever. It's like, with this person who I love, this is the most incredible. I've never seen desert or canyons in my life. So it's just like unbelievably beautiful, no thoughts in my mind. And then it's like, well, how do I get to this place all the time? This is now the goal. And it's so easy to say and so hard to figure out.
Well, also it's not practical. It's not
right.
It doesn't make sense. It's not pragmatic. And in that, you're even that's just creating another thing that you feel like you need for happiness.
Good point.
It's like saying, it's the same as going, if I just had $1 million, if I just did the set of the Tonight Show,
oh, wow.
I just had a gig. And that's not how life works. You can't just live at peak. I mean, obviously you're going to feel better when you're in the Grand Canyon than when you're in, Queens.
Right.
You live in Bushwick, like walking from the subway to home in Bushwick, you're going to be like, okay, I'm almost home, but let me just be aware of the situation, who's around, as opposed to in, Palm Springs, you're going to be like, all right, I'm soaking in some rays. I'm at it's the same. It's like, you can't, my therapy, I always talk about this on the podcast too. We do it in comedy with audiences too, where you're like, this joke killed so hard that night. And you're like, well, that's a different group of people.
Right.
But you're never like, if you're a TV set that you're killing, you're not going to be in the same mood as if you're visiting your grandfather in the hospital. It's like, it's like standing at your grandfather's deathbed and being like, God, I just want to have that Utah feeling right now. You know what I mean? Right? Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. I'm standing, he's flatlined and I'm just taking a deep breath and just going, man, it's beautiful.
Well,
get my picture with this.
You could take that angle too. It is beautiful to watch, life escape from a soul or a spirit or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of not that level. I don't want to get to that far where it's like, I don't know what it is. I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm trying to find the appreciation in every situation is something I'd like to reach, but maybe it isn't realistic. Maybe that's, I'd rather not have it always in hindsight. I'd like to appreciate moments when they're there is I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the goal. I understand that, if that's what you mean, is to be present and, to be present and experiencing it. Cause that's the thing with mindfulness too, is experiencing anger, depression, sadness as what it is, as an appearance in consciousness.
Yeah.
And to be present with it, where often we try to escape from that, to get rid of that, which just makes it worse and is futile, instead of just sitting there and being like, okay, I'm anxious right now. Why am I anxious? And then what I like to do is, and we've talked about before, is like get in touch with the physical sensations of anxiety.
I haven't heard about this.
So that instead of you're having anxiety, so you start going, oh, I'm freaking out, I'm dying, or this is happening. You can sit and go, okay, what's really happening? My hands are tingly. My heart's beating a little faster. My vision is a little blurred. However, anxiety manifests for you. You're like, my thoughts are racing. Those are just thoughts. I'm having multiple thoughts. That's what anxiety feels like. My leg is shaking. And if you break it down to just physical things, experiences, it takes some of the teeth out of it, I think.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Like I said, I've been trying to do that with, I get angry lately and I don't know why. I'm trying to figure that out. And when there's no clear reason, it makes you angrier, or at least it makes me angrier. So that energy just builds. Yeah,
I have that too. By the way, you're giving me nothing here. I'm doing all the talking,
all
the lifting.
I thought I'm like, hey, I'm on fire. And then I thought I'm giving nothing.
No, you're great. I'm just, I can't, this is what's really happening. See, this is mindfulness. I'm sitting here going, I'm a blowhard asshole. I keep talking. I'm just yammering on. Every time I do a podcast, I visualize a pie chart of who's doing the talking. And I'm like, guys, it's 97-3. It's a big, dumb Joe pie. You're a little big dick sliver.
I see it as I'm having a great time, but worried that I'm not giving you anything. But now I'm extra worried.
Well, I'm trying to play tennis. I'm just serving aces over here.
I have what advice do I have for you?
I don't know. That's what I'm looking for. Give me something. Stick something in my ass over here.
All right. I mean, it'll be a sliver again, but.
But wait, I think we were going somewhere here.
We were.
What did you say? I derailed the whole thing.
We were. I thought I was doing great, and now I'm in my head.
Wait, what was the last thing you said? Because I started to say something. The anger.
Yeah,
you're having anger, and okay, so I have the same issue. I'm getting angry at you.
Yeah, it's mutual.
So
I'm joking.
And you do have to sit down and go like, what am I really angry at? Because sometimes I'll have it where I get angry, where I just feel myself, I'm living, I'm walking around doing whatever. It just feels like a normal day. And then, the game is starting and I'm trying to turn the TV on. I got to get it from HDMI 2 to HDMI 1 and it takes too long. And I'm like, you fucking cunt. Fuck.
Yes.
And you have to have that moment of like, well, that seems like it's about more than switching HDMI.
Yes. Here's what we'll take it from a sliver to a branch at least. Not
too big of a branch.
No.
Show. Let's be honest.
No, I mean that's in between my legs. Anyways, I been doing Soul Cycle with my girlfriend, and it gets worse.
Okay, I'm listening.
And we do it. It's in a tent outside in a parking lot in Long Island.
Sounds intense.
Right? And the whole reason I do it is because they literally lock your feet into the pedals. And it's like, I have nowhere to go but be in this class on this bike and do this exercise. I'm literally locked in. There's no way out of this exercise. And I mean, there is, but it would be embarrassing. So I'm driving us there this morning and we get there the whole way. It's a great ride. Caitlin and I are riffing and stuff. We get to the turn into the parking lot and a van comes out to a point where I can't make the turn into this lot. So I miss the turn and it went from a great morning to I was frustrated. I couldn't react in time. Then I missed like 3 more turns. I throw my hat off behind me, and then I take my sunglasses off, and I'm like breaking them in my hand. And Caitlin goes, "Man, that changed quickly." And she's like, "We're gonna make it on time." And I'm like, "Whatever." And I like went the total opposite direction, and then we weren't talking. And we just did. It was the most uncomfortable class I've done. I'm just pedaling behind my girlfriend going, she hates me and everything. And it just turned in 2 seconds from missing one turn where you could just turn around.
First and foremost, were you in disguise in the car? Why'd you have a hat and glasses on? You're like, I peeled off my mustache, took off my overcoat.
Yeah, it was an Abe Lincoln hat. The sunglasses had mutton chops attached to them.
Yeah. Took off my gold chain. I took my nose ring out.
Yeah, I got the gold teeth. I removed the golden dentures. Oh, man. It was just cool.
I feel the same way. And it changes. Even when the anger is not directed towards who you're with, it changes the vibe.
Right.
Like, I mean, it feels this weird thing, no matter who you're with your mother or a buddy or a girlfriend or a wife or a kid, whatever it is. Once someone who I do it all the time is like, fuck, what the fucking, and you go crazy. Everyone else has to be like, oh, geez. It's hard to go back to like, yeah, but anyways, Fresh Prince is a fantastic show or whatever.
That's who I was dressed as. That was my disguise. I hate it. And I'm realizing now I used to be jealous of all my peers' accomplishments, and now I'm jealous of their attitude. Like I have so many, like Caitlin is the most positive person I know. And she's always like finding the good and always excited about something, even something so small. And I'm like, how do I do that? How do I go from flipping out in a car, from missing a turn to just being excited all the time? I mean, not all the time, obviously, but like she can find it a lot. And it drives me insane.
Well, a few thoughts. One, it seems that you're probably contributing to that. You're bringing her some joy, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you're something that she or someone that she has in her life that's bringing her amount of joy and calm, and maybe she wouldn't be as excited or happy if you weren't around.
Right. That's a good point.
Maybe,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe take it as a compliment. Boy, every time she's around me, she's filled with joy. Maybe, I don't know.
No, I like that. You know how I take compliments. So this is where, that's a good point. I like that.
But also I do think does feel like an improvement, progress, not perfection, in that you've progressed from being jealous of accomplishments of people to mental states, instead of being like, I want that credit or that amount, that physical thing. I'd like to be like that person. Now, what does she do? I mean, Caitlin's been on the show before.
Yeah.
Is she actively doing it? Because some of it's parenting. We're different people, different upbringings. You have different brains. You grew up in different places.
I think it might be like I think it is parenting, but my parents are positive people, so I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's this she's from sunny California where everything's like, great and everything. And I'm from Syracuse where it's not gray one day out of the year. So I don't know if it's that. I honestly don't know. But I don't know why I picked weather.
No, it makes sense. But also, this is interesting because for the people that may not know you, which is everybody, you make it sound like to me, I look at you as like the happy, like this is mind blowing to me. Like to me, you're the happiest, go lucky, chipper, like
it's the squinty eyes,
big smile, squinty eye. Whatever. Like you're making it seem like the people that may not know you it makes it seem like you're, Kevin Brennan or something. Like you're not a curmudgeon-y, angry guy.
Yeah.
I feel like I come off that way to people more often, but you're always giggling and smiling and squinting and you look like Jimmy Neutron, for God's sakes.
I feel the same way about you, not the Neutron thing. More, you're more of a Bert. I don't know. I couldn't think of any other character. But you're always happy when I see you, or at least energetic, and it's never dull. It's never low, at least when I'm around you.
Well, again, you're fun to be, or you're nice to be around.
Yeah.
So you're bringing that out to people.
Man, I think I'm bringing it now. Am I bringing it now? Now I'm worried about my pie chart here. I just turned more Boston than you've ever been.
Dude, your fucking pie chart stinks, kid. You're a fucking loser. Your fucking pie chart's
pie chart.
It's got fucking AIDS, dude. That's how thin it is.
Oh man, I don't know. That's good. I like that people feel that way about me. I mean, around me. I don't know. I'm trying to. Maybe other people should bring it up a little. Then maybe it's I'm carrying when in social situations, my pie chart is big, and they should pick it up. So I feel good.
Well, Seinfeld had a great thing that he talked about in the comedian. What do you call it? Commentary with my dear friend Colin Quinn. And Seinfeld had a great thing where he said, and I completely agree with him, and maybe we've talked about this before also, but he said the biggest disappointment to me in life is how few people are really enjoying it. And man, I completely agree. He's like, everybody's worried about something, their hair, their clothes, illness, whatever. And I was always struck by that. Even when I was young, And when I was really young and into like teenage years and in my early 20s, I was always the guy that was like never worried about anything. Then I got hit with anxiety and depression and stuff.
Right.
But it is striking how few people, I mean, really few people seem to be enjoying life. And I've always had that thing where people are always like, oh, you're always up for something. You're always planning things and doing things. Oh, it's so exciting. I'm like, yeah, I mean, what are we doing here? What are you doing? What are you talking about? Of course. Let's go. I never understood it. And I always found it surprising and a bummer. I mean, like, there are millions of people who just aren't even trying to have fun, it seems like.
Yeah. And I think that's something I've always been chasing. I used to think it was from accomplishments. That's where I think I made that transition where it's like, oh, if I get this, I'll be happy. And we've talked about this. Like, if I get this thing, I'll be happy. And you learn that after you get that thing, whatever it is, that's not the case. And I remember reading or hearing something where it was like, depression is when you think you'll be happy when you get a thing. And then joy is when you're chasing getting better, like chasing getting better at writing jokes or getting better at a new skill or anything. That's where I get more joy and become happier. But chasing the accomplishment of whatever, another late night or an album, that makes me depressed because it's out of my control. But what's in my control is getting better at a thing, or getting better at being a boyfriend, getting better at being a podcast guest. All those things bring me more joy.
Pie chart.
Does that mean I went up?
Yeah, I think that was good. That was a good. You just added some blueberries. Or
the real pie.
It was crusty.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, those are the things I'm trying to work on too, and this is something I've struggled with before. I don't know if it's along those lines too. I struggle with it all the time. My therapist always has to remind me of like actually taking time to understand and think about what you do want.
Yeah.
Well, my therapist is always like, well, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, well, think about it. And I'm like, I don't want to. And it's been a roadblock in my career in life because I'm like, I have trouble thinking about the future because of anxiety.
Right.
I've always had a hard time working on a sitcom or dreaming about having a sitcom or a movie or something because I'm like, well, we're all going to die. Climate change is going to get us. I'll get cancer, whatever.
Right.
Which is like crippling anxiety, which has affected my career in so many ways. And that's part of the reason I'm always like, let's go to the fucking amusement park right now. Because I'm like, well, we could do this right now, where a lot of that stuff is a commitment to learn how to play guitar or to shoot a movie or whatever. Right.
I think it's almost like, but using what you just said is almost a way is a benefit too, where it's like I used to think, well, don't worry about that album that you'll get to do someday. But it's like I have to remember, no, I'm going to die. So why don't I make that someday today? Why don't I do a little bit today? Let's make a step today. And like I had to learn step instead of, I used to be like, all of it will be done today. And that's where the depression set it in. But like, let's make those little steps and get that joy of being creative, so that if then you're sitting on something eventually. But combining my fear and your fear, I think it's right in the middle. I think
with our fears combined, we could rule the galaxy.
Yeah.
No, and I have that still now. Before I went to Seattle, I was like really depressed because, I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. I wanted to be even more than a comic. I wanted to be Martin Scorsese. I was like, that was what I wanted to do. And
the glasses.
What's that you said?
You've got the glasses.
Yeah, and my eyebrow hair can get pretty wild. But
hey, there you go.
I'm starting to think you don't know who Martin Scorsese is, but
yeah, he's the guy in Schitt's Creek. I'm kidding.
I don't even get it. I've never watched the show.
He's got the eyebrow hair and the glasses. I'm blanking on his name. He was friends with John Candy. Oh, I can't remember.
Oh, Eugene Levy?
Eugene Levy.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't work. Go ahead.
Anyways, yeah, I was trying to talk about my unrealized dreams, but keep making cracks.
You got me too hungry for more pie. I'm sorry.
I give your rating on a 1 to 10 is 3.154. Oh, we're dads.
Oh, you'll be a great dad.
We should do a podcast together called My Two Dads.
Oh my God, I'd love that so much.
But we don't have kids.
Still.
My Two Dad jokes. I don't know. All right. By the way, that show's from like fucking 45 years ago. It's not even.
It was the trivia team name I did the last trivia.
Oh, how was it? Well, we can't get into that.
No, I'm sorry.
But did you ever watch that show? You're too young for that show.
I've never seen it, and I'm wondering. I have zero knowledge about that show. Was it about gay dads?
They weren't gay, but like I think there was a lot of jokes about them. That was like a big hot joke back in the day. It was Paul Reiser and another douche. I can't remember who, but they weren't gay. I forget what one of them looked like. I thought it was George Michael. He looked like George Michael, and for a long time I was like, yeah, George Michael. And people were like, what? No. And
then when he came out as gay, you're like, see?
Hey, that's funny. That all came together. Any jizz
for the two dads.
What the fuck were we gonna say?
You wanted to be a filmmaker, just like Martin Scorsese, more than you wanted to be a comic.
That's right. So the week before Seattle, I was like in a horrible funk because I started writing when quarantine happened. I started writing this movie, and I'm like 98 pages into it, and then I got notes, and somebody was gonna help me make the movie. And so I got really excited. I was like, I'm going to make this. I'm literally going to make a movie. It's going to happen. And I was like going through the shot. And then he kind of wasn't as into it. And I was like, that was my shot. Forget it. I'm a loser. So now anytime I watch a film or read about film, I'm like, it's just a reminder of like, you piece of shit. You didn't do it. You never did anything.
Right.
It's like, sure, you accomplished this stuff in comedy, but that was easy. And that was an easier road to do.
Wow. I mean, that's, I'm sorry to hear that because I know how much film means to you. So I don't know if I'm sure there's a way, to separate yourself because that'd be like if you did it off one set and said, well, I'll never be a comic.
Right.
Because clearly you probably had bad sets in your career and kept going. You just shook your head no for people. But that would be, a lot of people would be missing out on great stand-up if you stopped at the one bad set.
That's a good point, and that's good advice, and I appreciate it. And today I did shoot. My friend Dan Hershon came over and we shot a web series. So we were kind of laughing about it because we were talking about this, and it's about film, which is fun. And we were kind of talking about this, and it was funny because I was like, I always wanted to make movies, and you're like, well, you are making one right now. It's a 2-minute movie, and it's not whatever. It's not fucking Taxi Driver, but
right.
Like I am playing on camera, and we're editing and making a thing for the purpose of entertainment. So I'm not creating films.
Right. And Richard Pryor didn't do live in concert as his first set.
Right.
So it's like there's stepping stones to everything that you do. And I believe in you. The stuff that I've seen you make already, like the FaceTime episode with Robert Kelly I thought was great.
Oh,
and
thanks.
Yeah, so I believe in you.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. We should make something together.
I would love that.
Um,
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so I've been making these little shorts that are silly and easy. At least it's something, and at least it's creating. At least I'm going, well, I'm making something, and I made a couple things with my niece, and then she was really great and funny, and which is tough because I want to put it on YouTube, but then I'm like, I don't want to subject my niece and nephew to like, oh, she looks retarded, and then you're like, I'll fucking kill you, you fuck.
And I'm sorry for leaving those comments, but like it's it's dumb. But yeah, I think that's like I've only made one sketch in my whole life, and I was exhausted. So you really got to love what you do to make anything at all. Like that's how you find out also. But
well, that's what it is. That's what's hard about it. And I think I talked about this last week with Andy Haynes, is like part of the reason stand-up I pursued it just seemed easier. I'm like, all right, I can write some jokes in my notebook, and then tonight I'll go to a bar and then hold the microphone and say them. Whereas a film, it's like you got to get a script and this continuity, and you got to pay for a camera and to edit it, and you got to get people to come, and they have to memorize it, and you can't really pay them, and it's time consuming. So it is a lot more difficult and more risky because you got to put some money up to really make something.
Yeah. And it's funny. Stand up is now like that. We're writing with no way of knowing what it's like. Like we don't get to do that, even that part anymore. At least I don't.
Yeah. And well, you've been on the road though. You've worked more than most people.
Right.
I'm on West Coast time still. That doesn't make sense. That would make it earlier. But you've been working a ton. I want to talk about that with COVID. How are you doing? Because last time we did an episode, that was pre-COVID, right?
Pre-COVID, pre-late night, that was after my late night. But like, yeah, it was pre so many things, mature, but
prepubescent. How are you doing? You're on the road. You open for Brian Regan. You're just out there working. You've been tested 150 times.
Yeah, I get tested constantly. It's been good. Like he and you are the only people that have given me opportunities since this has started, really, where it's like you're in front of people and getting to do what you like, the whole reason I live here and everything. But it's been good. And it's made me practice, and we've talked about this. It makes me practice gratitude. It's like most people are complaining, oh, when we get back, there's going to be half capacity. Maybe the audience is going to have masks, or I'll have to wear a mask or be in a glass booth or whatever. I am grateful for whatever opportunity somebody gives me because I miss it so much. I was so sad when it was gone, and it's been great. I'm so happy to be back, and I wear a mask. I'm as safe as I can be, and I'm fine with all that.
Yeah, and you said the test is much easier now. It used to be the brain scan. They fucking jammed a
it's like a Q-tip into the brain.
Yeah, and so now it's just a little swab, right?
Yeah, it's in the inside of both nostrils, and it still feels weird, but it's not like you're grabbing the woman being like in pain.
Grab her by the pussy. So let me ask you this about COVID, because you get tested all the time, and that's just for precaution or for your own safety. What's going on there? Why are you getting tested so much?
I'm getting tested to not be the problem. So I guess it is for precaution and I think I'm last on the list of reasons I do it. I do it for precaution so I'm not a spreader, and 2, for other people. Like I want to be able to get more work, and I also want to be around people and not hurt them. And then obviously my own anxiety.
Yeah, it's interesting because I have not been tested, but I haven't had any symptoms or felt the need too much because I just went like, do you ever have the feel like I flew to Seattle and went straight to my friend's house with his permission? I was like, what do you think? I mean, and he had the take of, he said at this point, he's like, I don't care if you're tested positive and you're coughing, come here. I need to be with my friend. Like I don't want to go a year without seeing family.
Right.
Of course I wasn't coughing and I feel safe, whatever. But when I fly from New York to Seattle, I get upgraded to first class because I'm a fucking baller kid. And there's nobody immediately next. Sarah's next to me. We're in a pod. We wear a mask the entire flight. There hasn't been too much, seemingly. I haven't heard any stories of big spreading events on airplanes. I keep the vent on. They're very quiet. They're not crowded. When I land, I'm not thinking, I just picked up COVID. This is crazy. I hope I'm not doing it. I go, I'm fine. It seems like most of the spread is coming from over 15 minutes on top of each other, inside, indoors.
Yes.
That kind of stuff.
My thinking is I never feel it's funny. I'm less nervous on planes than I ever was in my life. And I'm usually pretty scared of flying. And now it's like, oh, this is the safe place. You can't get COVID on here.
Right.
At least that's how my brain works. I am getting tested, one, because my mom has MS, and it was kind of the similar thing as you and your friend. I went and saw my parents, and I'm like, I need to see my family. My family feels the same way. I'm getting tested because of my mom, but I'm not doing anything and I don't feel anything. But also you hear those people that are asymptomatic, and my anxiety goes, well, if I'm any guy, it's that guy. I'm the guy that's not going to know that he's killing everyone. And that's how my brain works. And the time it gets the worst is when I'm around people that aren't that are reckless. And we've talked about this, the people that take their mask off immediately when they're around friends. It's those people that lose the security around close people they're close with. And that's when I get nervous.
Yeah, I've stuck with my theory that everybody assumes people they know don't have it and people they don't know do have it. I mean, everyone that I know, but people in the middle, I think a lot of the people in the middle of the country, it seems to me, don't think anyone has it. They don't care. I shouldn't say the middle of the country because that's painting with a very broad stroke. There are lots of people.
Yeah, they're everywhere. I mean, it's like, anybody that's loose about it, I'm the most nervous around them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess I'm somewhere in the middle because, like, I had Ari and his girl came over here and we hung out inside, and my friend Dan came over today and he shot a thing here, and I went to my friend's house. But I'm not, and we've done indoor dining too. I was at the Cellar and had dinner, but again, it's quiet there. And also in New York, we shouldn't go too deep into COVID because people are just hearing so much about COVID. I don't want to get too into it, but
let's talk about the election.
In New York, we're testing under 2% too, which is the barometer. I mean, that they use it as a barometer. That's how many people have it. You're like, I mean, that means 98% of the city doesn't have it, and masks seem to keep people pretty safe. So, but anyways, I want to keep it in the realm of mental health and anxiety. So it seems like you're doing okay, at least with COVID, in that you're traveling, you're taking your precautions, and you're getting through it. You're not a hermit stuffed in the house freaking out.
No, I'm grateful for that. I attribute that to therapy, meditation, and friends who have anxiety like you. Like when I see people that I'm similar to being strong and doing okay, that gives me hope and that kind of stuff. So that makes me feel good. Also, I know that being inside would not help my mental health. I got to get out there and do things. I can't sit in front of the TV all day. It makes me guilty and nervous.
Yeah, well, that's what's interesting. We'll see what happens now as we head to winter and it's surging like crazy. There's 100,000 new cases a day, whatever. But I don't know. I don't want to, like I said, get too into COVID, but it seems like, again, in New York, places where Seattle too, where they're wearing masks indoors and keeping it spread. It seems like we're doing okay in those places. So,
yeah. And I just opened for Brian on his special. It was a full crowd with all had masks on. And it was like, oh, if this is what it is for a while, we could still do it.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, let's adapt. And I even think maybe, winter comedy could be a thing. Like, I said it somewhere, but I'm like, originally at some point, people must have thought no one's going to come to an NFL game in Green Bay in December. What are you insane?
Right.
And now it's sold. You can't get a ticket.
Yeah.
So eventually you just go, we're doing cold weather comedy. You got to wear thermals, bundle up. We'll have those little fire things.
Yeah.
And that's how we're fucking doing it. I mean, people go to the AFC Championship every year, which is usually in New England. Hello. 2-4. I don't know what they are. I think they're 2-4 or 2-5, maybe. Maybe they're 2-5. It doesn't matter.
I mean, you're asking the wrong guy.
Yes, I certainly am. Guy is a loose term. But what's your meditation like? And are you doing better than when you were on the 5th episode of the podcast?
The pandemic took my meditation schedule took a blow.
I would think it would get better.
I thought it would too, but then we got a cat, and then once that you're getting up and it affects your schedule and all that. And then I was having a hard time sticking to the schedule, so I'm back on the meditation train and feeling better. Still love it. I'm gonna do it after this. So I love meditation. I'm glad I'll never stop again. I noticed a huge dip in my mental health when I stopped. So I'm glad.
Did you use the Waking Up app? I got a free month.
Oh yeah, I'm on it. And I listen to the talks. His voice alone is soothing.
It's very good. I mean, there's hours of talks that I've blown through now, so I have to start re-listening to some, I guess. And did you sign up for the moment? Because now they do a moment.
I didn't do the moment.
You got to go in there, and because once a day it hits you randomly. Mine's just sitting here burning a hole in my pocket. If you don't listen to it, maybe I'll play it. I wonder if I'll get sued.
Play it.
I don't know if they'll sue me, but and I've given him a lot of free promotion. I imagine he won't. But they give you a thing that once a day you can set the hours between 10 and 10 or whatever. It'll just pop up. And if you don't click on it, you miss it. It's over.
Oh my God.
But if you click on it, it's a minute long or 30 seconds. I'll play it and see if
it'll
play. Okay. I'm tapping. It might be, Sam Harris, if you're listening, don't sue me. It's 70 seconds long.
At some point today, you will have a
Can you hear this?
negative reaction.
Can you hear it? Okay.
Yes.
People can hear it.
To something. You'll feel a sudden burst of anxiety or anger or shame or some other negative emotion. Prepare yourself now for this ambush. Imagine that your life is a video game. And at this level, in order not to die, you need to utterly relax and become deeply curious the moment a strong negative emotion arises. And every second counts. You want to catch this change in your experience as quickly as possible and then penetrate it fully with mindfulness. And you're not pushing anything away, right? On the contrary, you're experiencing whatever you feel as fully as you can. There should be no resistance. Allow yourself to become incandescent with anxiety or anger or shame, but don't get distracted by your thoughts. Just notice thoughts as thoughts and return to the feeling itself with interest and compassion, and then see what happens.
And then blow your dad. Hey, Sam, don't sue me.
I'm sorry, that misdirect got me good. That was something I could have used on the drive to Soul Cycle, but that's amazing.
Well, so you got to sign up for it on there. You go on there and click your settings or whatever. But folks, first of all, how funny to have that play in the middle of this podcast. It's like if you went and saw a band and then like 9 songs in, they just stepped off the stage and like Pearl Jam came out, played Alive, and then just walked back off the stage. And then we came back on. And everyone's like, that was weird.
It's these two dorks again.
Yeah. But anyways, it's really great and helpful, but it's the best app in the world and you can get it for free. And I just do a ton of free advertising for this guy.
So good.
But anyways, that was really good. I hope we don't get shut down for using it.
Well, just say you don't own the rights or whatever. Isn't that like the magic wand on that kind of stuff?
What?
Isn't it like when they use music in a YouTube video, they just say, I don't own the rights to this, and then it's allowed to stay on there or something?
I'm not sure, but here's the thing. I think about 58 people listen to this show, so I think we're probably going to be okay. Just don't rat us out to him. And
well, they're all great, the 58.
And I think it was a great advertisement for the thing.
It was a great advertisement. How are we glossing over how great the advice was?
I think here's why I'm glossing over. Because I listened to it in the middle of the show. I wasn't fully paying attention. I was looking at my sound thing because it was going up. I was thinking about getting sued. So what did he say again?
He said at some point you're going to experience a extreme negative feeling like anxiety or anger. And take this ambush, which I thought ambush was the best wording ever for it.
Ambush alert.
Well, okay, whatever. I had to
prepare for it now.
Prepare for this ambush, and don't let the thoughts distract you. Experience this extreme emotion, and take it as like a video game where the only way for you to live is to just experience this emotion. And I think he said something. And not panic, and be curious about it, and be mindful to penetrate it with mindfulness.
And remember, similar to what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, really, it was perfect for what we were talking about earlier, and I thought that was extremely poetic.
Yeah, it's great, and that's what's interesting about all this stuff is it becomes you just need the reminder. It's always the same advice and all this shit. If you read, Pema Chodron or Sam Harris or Thich Nhat Hanh or anything kind of Buddhist or stuff like that, it's all the same message essentially. You just have to keep reminding yourself and maybe say it in different ways with different metaphors or whatever, but just keep it in mind. It's a lot of acceptance and mindfulness. And also, I keep looking at this book again, How to Break Up with Your Phone. Highly recommend that. Where are you at with your phone, social media?
Doing great. You recommended Social Dilemma. I watched it, and it scared the hell out of me, and turned off notifications on my phone. I'm hardly on it to the point where I'm nervous I'm not on it enough to keep the interactions, because we are in a profession where you need to have some sort of presence. But it has been a nice relief to be away.
Same. I just bought this. I'm trying to show the camera. You can't see it. I bought a digital clock to go next to my bed, an alarm clock, to keep the phone outside the bedroom. And I think I'm going to have to start doing that. I might have to buy a watch and like a compass or a mat, whatever the fuck, all the stuff, not a compass, but all the stuff to go back to that the phone replaced. So now I just have a clock next to my bed instead of let me look at the clock. Oh, Jason Cantor texted me. Let me respond to him. Oh, let me just check my Instagram real quick. So having the phone outside of the bedroom is good advice. And I'm going to start doing this. You can put up an auto response text like, hey, I'm driving right now. Because so much of the anxiety and reason to check your phone is who am I missing? I got to get back to people. I don't want people.
Yeah.
So you could start putting, this is stuff that Catherine Price talks about in the book, is put an auto response going, hey, I'm recording a podcast right now. Hey, I'm taking a break from my phone right now, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So people don't think you're ignoring them.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Good, right? Because that way you just respond to me. Someone goes, hey, what are you doing? Hey, I'm not taking texts right now, but I'll get back to you.
Oh, that's incredible. I want that right now.
Yeah, you can do that. It's on your phone. I think there's an auto. I haven't found it. I don't know how to do it, but it's on there. You can do an auto text. And then there's an app she talks about called Moment that you can put on your phone that when you touch your social media, when you go to open your social media, it takes 15 seconds to open. So you just sit there waiting for Instagram and you go, fuck it. I don't need it. It lets that urge go away. So those are all helpful tips from this book.
That's so great. Oh my God. This has been the most inspiring. Your pie chart is still thicker.
No, you've got a good pie chart. No, Sam Harris has the thinnest piece of pie. He's got like a pube.
That's right. I beat Sam Harris.
Yeah, he stinks. So now it's weird too, because we did this podcast. I feel great. I feel like we had this conversation. But
Feels
now
so
we're gonna
good.
hang up and go watch fucking the returns
know.
come in and freak out. But
I know. But I gotta say, and I missed you, and I feel good to see you and talk to you. So this is great. I'm gonna hold on to this feeling. It's already a win.
and I wish we were working together this weekend, but you're working with someone else.
I know. I'm opening for Caitlin Palufo in Bloomington at the Comedy Attic.
If anyone's in the Bloomington area, go watch Caitlin and Steve.
Yes.
Fantastic comedians, great couple, past guests. Steve's the first 2-time guest.
Yes.
And,
I'm so honored.
I'm doing gigs too. Tonight, I'm in Middlefield, Connecticut with Sarah. We're both working with our wives.
Hey, wonderful.
Whatever. And then next week, I'm in Royersford, Pennsylvania again on Wednesday, and then Millersville, Pennsylvania on the Friday, and then Gillette. Fuck, I always forget it. Gillette Stadium has a little comedy club thing.
Oh, wow.
In it. Yeah, it's not in the state. It's a restaurant that's there. It's a bar. But I'm there.
Stick with Gillette.
Day after Thanksgiving. So shave money and that was awful. I make a good dad. Well, that's Steve Rogers. Thanks so much, Steve. And I hope you have a safe whatever.
Yeah, stay safe, buddy. And I hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
In person.
You,
I love you too.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Mindful Metal Jacket is hosted by comedian Joe List. Produced by Joe List. Edited by Matt Kleinschmidt. Executive producers Robert Kelly and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button Podcasts.